Okay, so I'm too stupid to figure out a problem on my own here, and in all of the troubleshooting I've ever done, whether when I worked in IT or not, I can't figure out what's causing this particular problem to happen. Fans of the original half series cases from Cooler Master can rejoice because the half is back and better than ever. Featuring 200mm RGB front fans, tempered glass side panel, and ample airflow, the H500P is a worthy successor to the original high airflow series. Learn more about the new Cooler Master H500P by heading to coolermaster.com. Here's what we're experiencing right now, and you know what? I'm agnostic when it comes to PC tech. I love all of it, and I'm gonna call out the problems when they exist. A lot of people have looked at Ryzen and the whole platform as being the holy grail to PC gamers and PC enthusiasts because competition and blah, 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 Intel sucks, Intel corrupt, blah, blah, blah. Ryzen ain't perfect, okay? Ryzen is not like the golden child. It still has its level of problems, and I can't figure out what's happening here. So we've got two identical Titan XPs on here, and we were doing the video about the reshooting of the 8700K versus the Ryzen 1700X when I was fixing those errors. And I noticed that this system wouldn't boot. In fact, Nick even put up a picture talking about, troubleshooting, et cetera, a few days ago. So here's what we're experiencing. When we take this card, this specific NVIDIA Titan X right here, we get a failed post at B2, and the VGA is lit up. Now here's why this video is important, and the reason why I'm making it here. Not only because I can't figure out why, and you'll see the process of elimination here. I'm trying to figure this out. This could lead to people thinking their graphics card is bad when in fact it's not. Let me show you what I mean. So we've got this card over here that's working just fine on the Intel system right now. And I have GPU-Z up because I want to check the BIOS. I want to see what the BIOS version is on these cards. Because although I got both of these from NVIDIA, it was well after launch, and I don't know if they came out of the same batch. So I don't know if there was a BIOS update or not. So if we look at our GPU-Z, we got a BIOS version 8602.1200.04. So I'm curious now if this has the same BIOS. And here's the reason why I'm pointing out that this is important, because somebody who just assembled their new computer would see a VGA code and freak out. And by the way, we do have the latest BIOS on this Aorus board. We did that when we were doing the Ryzen versus 8700K. If we take this card off of the test bench here, set it over here, we take the card, we need to jump this, make sure it's all out. Okay, so we take the card that's currently on our 8700K system. I love how the power is off and everything, gets the RGBs. There we go. So here it is, the same card you just saw working. I'm now gonna take it over here, stick it on this system, and we expect it to work, right? Because if it's a bad GPU, that is what we're dealing with here. We need more length on that. Why does more length always seem to be my problem? So this card we know is working because it was working over there. So we're gonna let that turn on. That's fine, we're already expecting that. No one would be surprised to be like, well, you switched the card and it's working. What's the deal here? What I'm gonna show you now is, where the heck did the power in PCI Express? There we go. See how it's working over there? As you would expect, but check this out. If I take this card, which was not working on the Ryzen system, and we plug it in over here, you'll see that it works fine. So what I want to check right now with it working on the Intel system is what the BIOS version is. Because we've got two identical cards from the manufacturer. One works on one system but not the other. We've already updated the BIOS over here, so we know it's not a BIOS problem. I have never experienced, I don't know how many years I've been building computers. I spent nearly 10 years in IT, and I've been doing YouTube now for 5. I have never experienced a situation where a card will work perfectly fine in one system, but not another. And this one's doing its new setup of hardware because we just plugged the hardware in, but whatever. There it goes. It's cycling now. Okay, so if we go over here and download GPU-Z. I think I already did download GPU-Z, didn't I? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
Yes.
So look at the version, it's identical. 8602.1200.04. It's identical versioning. But so I cannot, for the life of me, figure out why one graphics card will work in one and not the other. And some might say, well, Jay, you don't have it screwed down right, it's moving. Is this making people scared? Does it make you scared, Nick?
Not really.
Not really? You've seen enough now that you've been here to see that
it doesn't faze me
it's
anymore.
not as fragile as it used to be.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. We've guaranteed that. So what I'm going to check here now is I'm just kind of curious if other graphics cards will do the same thing. So I just grabbed a random 1080, not a Ti, it's just a 1080. I want to see if this will do the same problem. Because I actually lost about an hour of troubleshooting when I did, huh?
And I thought it was me who broke it.
Well, because you tried to boot it with no memory.
Yeah.
And Ryzen is just like,
Super picky.
when it's working, you don't touch it because it's super picky, especially with the memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're seated all the way there. I'm curious what do you think I'm grabbing?
My bad.
Jeez. This guy. I'm curious as to any other graphics cards will give us a boot issue because this particular rig, although I've had the Ryzen stuff since what, March, April?
Yeah.
I don't need that, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't actually tried to,
You have to plug it in with this before.
no, you're fine, but I just noticed that once I gave it power, it turned itself on, which is interesting. Whatever. Let's see if that boots up. It's still going through its postcodes right there. So anyway, everything worked fine on the Intel system, no problem. This one just stick on 24. You restart it. Only because, like I said, I turned on the power switch on the power supply and it turned on, which that board hadn't done yet. Now look, with this graphics card in there, now we're getting this, OC, and it's going back and forth between DRAM and CPU. So let me turn this off. Make sure this is all seated properly. Okay. Try that again. Okay, I think we made it through that time. Yeah, see that one's good now. So that was a weird boot. I don't think it's kind of like troubleshooting 101. If something doesn't work, you change the graphics card, reseat it. So the 1080 is working. I don't care for it to redo all that stuff. We'll go ahead and try a Vega 56. If a Vega card didn't work in there, then that would be like the ultimate what the heck. But the whole reason why I'm making this quick video is because I'm wondering if any of you guys have suggestions on what to try. The suggestion that's going to probably be most common is we'll reflash the BIOS on the graphics card. Easier said than done on Pascal cards. And considering the BIOS version's already the same, I don't know if rewriting over the BIOS is going to help. I guess it could, but whatever. Nick coming in with the assist. So there's not, I mean, I'm not going to go through and test all my GPUs. It's very specifically this one. This graphics card works on the test bench, it works on this Intel system, but it refuses to work on this one. So I don't know if it's necessarily a problem with the motherboard specifically, and this flashing that you're seeing right here, this is normal when it goes through and reinstalls drivers, especially when you go from like an Intel to an AMD, Intel, or NVIDIA to AMD, NVIDIA to AMD, it'll stop eventually. But I'm not sure if this is limited down to the motherboard itself, or if it's specifically a GPU thing. See, the reason why I don't think it's the motherboard is because why would then one Titan work in there and not the other? All right, it seems feasible, right? You would think all or none if it was a motherboard problem. Two different Titans, same BIOS, doesn't boot. So again, the whole point of this video is I'm reaching out to you guys. What do you think the problem is? What do you think we should do to troubleshoot this? Because I think a new builder, if they experience this, because I'm fortunate, right? I've accumulated over 5 years enough hardware to be able to troubleshoot this stuff and do all the methods you would, which is swapping out hardware, which like probably 95% or more of you don't have a spare GPU laying around or a spare CPU or motherboard to try. I think a new builder might have looked at this and thought their GPU is bad and freaked out, especially if they had to order it and wait for it to be shipped and delivered and deal with RMA. And then here's what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna send this back to NVIDIA, they're gonna RMA it and go, works fine. They're gonna send it back to you, you're gonna have the same problem. So anyway, what would you guys check? Maybe we'll do a follow-up on this, but that's a weird problem that I can't explain, and I'm hoping somebody watching this video has the knowledge to point me in the right direction of figuring out why it's doing that. So although Ryzen a great system, these are the kinds of quirks and things we've been dealing with still, even 6 months later. It's just part of, I mean, this is tech. Some of us enjoy this. I enjoy it some days more than others. All right, guys, I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.